Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. So, in the previous class, we have discussed about test of the IC engine, and we have discussed some tests. So, we have discussed about Morse test, and we have also done some numerical on that. So, today we will discuss about motoring test. Okay. Okay. In the motoring test, as the name is given, motoring test, so we use a motor to measure the frictional power of the engine. Okay. So here let us assume it is a 4-cylinder engine. So here there is a 4-cylinder. Now in all these 4 cylinders there are pistons in these cylinders, and these pistons are connected to the crankshaft by connecting rod. Here is the connecting rod and here is the crankshaft. So on this crankshaft we get the brake power from the engine. Okay. Now how can we measure the brake power? So to measure the brake power we will employ a brake dynamometer here. But here we use a electrical field type electrical swing type brake dynamometer. Okay. Okay. Now this brake dynamometer is coupled with a motor. This brake dynamometer will coupled with a motor. We will couple this dynamometer with a motor. Here there is a motor. Now as this diameter is an electrical swing type diameter, so when this diameter measure the power from this crankshaft, that is brake power, this diameter also converts this brake power into electrical power. Okay. So there is a circuit, electrical circuit here, and this dynamometer converts this brake power into electrical power and store that electrical energy. Okay. So now engine is in running condition and we are getting the power from the engine, total power from the engine, total brake power. Okay, and that brake power is converted in electrical energy by this dynamometer and is stored by this dynamometer. Okay, now when all power is stored in the form of electrical energy here, now we put this engine in off condition. Okay, we switch off this engine. Okay, put this engine in off condition. Okay, now engine is off, and what power we have got here, what electrical power we have got here is supplied to the motor. This electrical power supplied to this coupled motor. Okay, now as this whole power is supplied to this coupled motor, this motor and this motor is getting power, so this motor starts rotating. Okay, and this shaft, the brake dynamometer, is connected, is coupled with this motor, and also this shaft, this crankshaft is also coupled with this motor. So when this motor is in running condition, it also runs this crankshaft through the brake dynamometer. Okay, now as motor is got a input power, input electrical energy, and this motor supplies this energy to this crankshaft. So when motor is in running condition, so crankshaft will also run. Okay, now when crankshaft runs, this crankshaft will work opposite the frictional force between piston and cylinder. Okay, if we will rotate this crankshaft, then this crankshaft will rotate against the frictional force which is here between piston and cylinder. Okay, so how much power we are supplying here to the crankshaft is actually the frictional power. because this crankshaft is working against the friction between piston and cylinder. So we just need to measure the output power from the motor which is used to run this crankshaft. Okay, that output power is the frictional power of the engine. Okay, so this brake dynamometer also measure the output power from this motor which is used to run this crankshaft. Okay, and that measured output power is actually the frictional power of the engine. Okay, so with the help of this brake dynamometer we will measure the frictional power of the engine. So in this way we can measure the frictional power of the engine using an electrical swing type dynamometer and a coupled motor. Okay, so this test is known as motoring test. Okay, there is another test to measure the frictional power which is known as Williams line method. Okay, next is Williams line method. Williams line method. This method is also used to measure the frictional power. Okay. Okay. In this method, what we do, we take an engine. Okay, we take an engine and okay, so we take an engine and we will run that engine for some time. Okay, and for that time we will measure the brake power and fuel consumption of the engine. Okay, for different load condition we will measure the brake power and fuel consumption and fuel consumption okay, fuel consumption of the engine. Now so when we are running the engine for some time and for different load condition we are measuring the brake power and fuel consumption. Okay, so we get a data of brake power, different brake power and a different fuel consumption. Okay, now by using this data we will plot a graph between brake power and fuel consumption. Okay, so we put the brake power on this x-axis, here is the brake power and here there will be fuel consumption. Okay, and by using this data for different brake power and brake power and corresponding fuel consumption, if we plot a graph we will get a graph like this. This graph should be like this, like a straight line, not fully straight line but something like this. Okay, so we will get a graph like this. Okay, now by if you see this graph, so when the fuel consumption increases brake power also increases. Okay, that is correct. Okay, now you can see here that at zero brake power, at the origin brake power is 0, now at zero brake power there is some fuel consumption is here. Okay, now we are not getting the power but still there is fuel consumption. Why there is a fuel consumption if we are not getting the power? So basically actually this fuel consumption, this much fuel is used to overcome the frictional power. Friction is always present in the engine. Okay, so this much fuel is here when brake power is 0, this much fuel is here because there is friction inside the IC engine, and to overcome that frictional power engine will consume some amount of fuel. Okay, so basically this fuel is consumed to overcome the friction. So this is the Williams line plot, Williams line graph, and by this graph we can do another thing. If we, so this much fuel is used to overcome the friction. So if we draw this line on the negative x-axis, okay, if we extend this line, on negative x-axis, so this will cut here on negative x-axis, okay. So on the negative x-axis, what power we are getting is actually the frictional power. This much is a frictional power, Fp. Okay, this is the brake power axis, but on the negative axis, when we extend this line will cut on the negative axis, and on the negative axis what we are getting is actually the frictional power. Okay, and frictional power should also be in negative. Okay, so this much on this graph, this much amount shows the frictional power. Okay, and here on the positive axis, this will be brake power. So by this method, Williams line method, we can also measure the frictional power of the IC engine. Okay, by plotting the graph. Okay, so these are the some methods of testing of IC engine. Okay, so this is the last topic of this unit, that is unit 1. Okay, so unit 1 ends here. Okay, now we will move for unit 2. Unit 1 ends here. Now we will go for unit 2 of this subject. Now unit 2, is basically, unit 2 basically consists of combustion in SI means petrol, and CI engine. CI means diesel. So in this unit we will discuss the combustion phenomena, the basic combustion phenomena in detail in SI engine as well as in CI engine. How combustion takes place, how we get the energy. So these all things we will discuss in this unit. Okay, CI engine. Okay, so here first we discuss about the combustion in SI engine, then after that we will discuss combustion in CI engine. First we will discuss combustion in SI engine. Now to understand the combustion phenomena in SI engine, we have to understand this combustion phenomenon pressure versus crank angle diagram. Okay, pressure versus crank angle diagram. This is pressure. Okay, here this is theta, that is crank angle. Okay, so on this plot we will understand the combustion phenomena. Why? Because with the combustion there is a rotation of crank also. Okay, and combustion does not take place in a single stage. Okay, combustion will take place in 3 stages. Okay, so to understand all that stages we have to understand the rotation of the crank also. Okay, so we have discussed the rotation of crank on the valve timing diagram. If we go to the valve timing diagram, we have understand here, this is the origin, this is TDC, this line represents TDC. If you remember the valve timing diagram, and the bottom line is BDC. Okay, and this is the center, and this is the crank. This is the crank, and we will see the rotation of the crank with the process in the IC engine. Okay, so here we have discussed that initially the piston will be at TD somewhere here on TDC. Piston will be on TDC. Let us assume this is point A. So initially the piston will be on TDC and crankshaft should be at the top position. Okay, so crank is here. Okay, now for the suction stroke, piston comes from TDC to BDC and crank will rotate by 180 degree. This we have studied in evolved time diagram by 180 degree. So here we reached at point B. This is point B. And from A to B suction takes place and at point B suction stops. Now from B to C, when we move, now piston is at TDC, BDC, and next stroke is compression stroke. In the compression stroke, piston moves from BDC to TDC and compress the air fuel mixture inside the engine cylinder. Now when piston moves from BDC to TDC, again crank will move from bottom to the top side. Crank will move by again 180 degree. Okay, so here move from, and this is compression. Okay, this is compression. We will reach that point C. This is point A. Now at point C, combustion of the compressed air fuel mixture takes place at point C. Okay. Now when combustion takes place, after combustion, expansion of the air fuel mixture takes place. After combustion, expansion of the air fuel mixture takes place, and again crank rotates by 180 degree. Okay, here again crank rotates by 180 degree. We will reach at point D. And after that, after expansion, exhaust will take place. Okay. And for exhaust stroke, again crank move by 180 degree. Okay. But we have to not discuss the whole process. Okay. We are discussing here only the combustion process. Okay. Okay. So here we need not to discuss all the process. We are interested only in combustion. Okay, and combustion consists of only three processes. Combustion starts with compression stroke. Combustion starts with compression stroke. When we start compressing the air fuel mixture, from that point combustion starts. Suction does not involve in combustion. Okay, so we remove that process, suction process here. Okay, so actually we will start with compression stroke. So here point A, and let us assume at the starting of the compression the crank angle is 0 degree, because we are assuming that combustion starts with compression. Okay, so at the starting of compression we will assume that crank is at 0 angle, at 0 degree. Here crank is at 0 degree. Okay, now when compression when we will go for compression from A to B. So at point B, what will be the angle of crank? It will be 180 degree. Here compression stops, and at point B combustion takes place. Okay, and after combustion expansion starts. Okay, expansion also involved in combustion process. So after combustion expansion starts here from B to C, and here angle is 180. Again the crank will rotate for 180 degree. So here angle will be 360 degree. Okay, at that end of expansion angle will be 360 degree. Okay, again exhaust stroke is not involved in combustion process. Okay, exhaust stroke is not involved in combustion process, so we will not draw exhaust stroke diagram. We will not draw the exhaust stroke diagram. Okay, so here we can see here that combustion is basically involved three processes, that is a compression, combustion, and expansion means after combustion. Okay, so if we draw this diagram here on P theta diagram, so here we will start with, now when compression starts pressure is high. Okay, pressure is not 0, so we will start from slightly above from here. Okay, now let us assume this is point A. Now when compression starts, pressure will increase, pressure is increasing and crank angle theta is also increasing. Okay, so we will get an inclined line here. We have to draw inclined line because both the values, pressure and crank angle, both the values are increasing. So we will get an inclined line here. It will be like this. Okay. So A to B. Okay. A to B, and at point A we have assumed that at point A angle is 0 degree, and at point B at the end of compression angle is 180 degree. So here crank is rotated by half degree, okay, and pressure is increases. This is the first stage of combustion. First stage of combustion. Okay. Now when we reach that point B, at point B combustion takes place. Combustion of the air fuel mixture takes place. Combustion of the compressed air fuel mixture takes place. Now when combustion takes place, we will remain at point B. Okay. We will remain at point B means crank piston will not move on, and when piston will not move, crank will also not rotate. Okay. So crank angle will not increase here. When we go for combustion, crank angle will not increase, crank angle remains constant. Okay. Because piston is not moving. Okay. So during combustion process, crank angle will not increase. We have to put the crank angle constant, but during the combustion process pressure increases with a very high rate. Okay, pressure increases rapidly. Okay, so here pressure will increase from point B, pressure will increase during combustion, but crank angle width will not increase. Okay, so here we have to draw a vertical line because crank angle is constant. Now on this vertical line at any point crank angle is constant 180 degree, but pressure is increases very sharply, very rapidly. Okay, so from B to C it is second stage of combustion. Second stage of combustion. First stage of compression. This is second stage of combustion. Okay, and after combustion expansion will take place. Okay, so when now for the expansion piston will move from TDC to BDC, again crank will rotate by 180 degree. Okay, now here during expansion pressure will not increase but pressure will decrease. During expansion pressure will decrease. So here we have to move from C so that pressure will decrease and crank angle is now during expansion stroke crank is rotating, so crank angle will increase but pressure will decrease. So we have to draw a downward line so that pressure will decrease and crank angle will increase. So we have to draw a line like this. Okay, this is point D. Somewhere here point D. So here you can say that now here from C to D crank angle is increasing but pressure is decreasing. Okay, so at point D the angle will be last point again 180 and crank is rotated by 180 degree, so it will become 180 plus 180 360 degree. So here angle will be 360 degree. Okay, and this is the third stage of combustion, which is known as expansion. Okay, so these are the stages of combustion. First stage that is compression, second stage that is combustion, and third stage that is known as expansion. Okay, but this is the theoretical process. These all things are theoretical. Okay, what we have studied here is theoretical combustion. Actual combustion will be different. Because actual valve timing is different. You have studied theoretical valve timing diagram and actual valve timing diagram. Okay, so here also we have to study theoretical combustion process and actual combustion process. Actual combustion process also involve 3 stages, but they are different. Okay, now we have studied in a compression process in the actual valve timing diagram that in actual valve timing diagram sparking starts before point B. Okay, sparking starts before compression completes. Okay, before here sparking starts 12 degree. Okay, Okay, 20 degree. Here we have what we have studied. 20 degree before, 20 degree before sparking starts here at where somewhere point B dash. Okay, this is what we have studied in the actual diagram, na? So here we have studied that sparking starts 12 degree before the compression completes. Okay, and sparking ends after TDC, after 12 degree of TDC. Here sparking ends after 12 degree. Here somewhere B double dash. This is what we have studied actually in the volatile diagram. So according to this diagram will also change, na? Okay. So when we talk about actual combustion process, so diagram will change here. Now we talk about actual combustion. Now when we talk about actual combustion process in SI engine, so we will start from zero, from point A. Let us assume this is point A. This is point A. Okay. First thing is the rise in pressure, and the rise in pressure is not a very straight line, not a very rapid. Okay, it will be like a curve. Rise in pressure with crank angle. First, in the starting of compression, it will gradual, not a sharp line. Okay, so we cannot draw a line here. Okay, we have to increase the pressure gradually. Okay, in the compression process. So here we are at 0 degree of crank angle, and when crank rotates during compression process, the rise is very gradual, not very sharp. Okay. Will like this. Okay. And after 0 degree, what I have told you that 20 degree before the compression completes, sparking starts. Let us say this is point small a. This point is small a. Okay. So here 20 degree means it is 180 degree, and 180 degree minus 20 degree means 160 degree. So here at 160 degree, let us assume this is point 160 degree. At 160 degree, here sparking starts. Okay, let us assume this is point A. So at point A, sparking starts, and when at point A sparking starts, first stage of combustion is also starts here. Okay, now combustion is a chemical process. Okay, you have studies that combustion is a chemical reaction. Okay, it will not happen suddenly. Okay, like sparking takes place and suddenly combustion takes place. It will not like this. Okay, combustion is a chemical reaction process, so it will take some time. So after sparking, when we start sparking, after sparking there are some chemical reactions, and when that chemical reaction completes, then combustion starts. Okay, so when we started sparking at point A, so after some time, it will after almost 12 degree. After almost 12 degree. 12 degree means we are at 160 degree. So after 12 degree means 172 degree. Okay. Let us assume this is point B. So at point B, okay, here combustion starts. Combustion or ignition starts. Ignition starts. Now, why there is a delay? Why there is a delay between sparking and ignition? Because of chemical reaction. Because of chemical reaction. So this delay from A to B, this delay is known as chemical lag or ignition lag. This delay is known as chemical lag or ignition lag. Okay, this duration from A to B is the chemical lag or ignition lag, and this duration is the first stage of combustion. Actually, from A to B is the first stage of combustion. Okay. Now, when ignition starts at point B, so when combustion starts at point B, so from point B the pressure rise is very rapid, very sharp. Now here the pressure rise is not gradual. Okay, from A to small b, this pressure is gradual. We have shown by curve, but from after B, when combustion takes place, the pressure rise is very sharp. Okay, so this pressure is will be very sharp. We have to draw a straight line, vertical straight line, almost vertical straight line. So it will be like this. Okay, okay. Now, now after point A, sparking, sparking and ignition both are taking place. Okay, sparking, ignition, all both are taking place, and both will continue up to TDC. Both will continue up to TDC. TDC means at 180 degree, up to TDC. Okay, this is TDC, and not only up to TDC, but after TDC also, beyond TDC also, sparking and ignition both are continuous beyond TDC. Okay, okay, and beyond TDC, 12 degree from this point B, sparking stops. Okay, 12 degree means here at point C, here sparking stops, means 192 degree. Okay, so at 192 degree means point C, at point C here sparking stops. Sparking stops. Okay, so from B to C, this duration is the second stage of combustion, and this duration is known as propagation of flame. Propagation of flame. Propagation of flame. Propagation of flame. Okay, so at point C sparking stops, and when sparking stops, so rate of ignition also become very low, and pressure, now from point C pressure starts decreasing. Okay, but ignition continues here, rate of ignition is low, rate of combustion is low, but ignition still continues beyond point C. Okay, but pressure will decrease. Okay, so here after point C pressure will decrease. Okay, like this, and 40 degree from the TDC, after 40 degree from TDC means here, somewhere here ignition stops. After 40 degree means 180 plus 40 is, it will be 220 degree. Okay, here at point D, here ignition stops. Ignition stops. And from C to D, this is the third stage of combustion, and this stage is known as after burning. After burning. Okay. So this is the actual combustion. This is the actual combustion. Now here we can write here, if we have to explain the stages, we can write here. We have to write here first stage, that is first point is first stage. First stage, which is known as chemical lag. Chemical lag or ignition lag. It is also ignition lag. Okay. Then second stage that is propagation of flame. Propagation of flame. Propagation of flame. Now third stage it will be after burning. After burning. So actual combustion also consists of three stages: chemical lag, first stage is chemical lag, second stage is propagation of flame, and third stage is after burning. Okay. Now here another thing is here. Now when sparking stops at point A and chemical reaction takes place, okay, at point B ignition starts. Now when sparking starts at point A and chemical reaction does not take place properly, or there are some problem due to which ignition does not start at point B. Ignition does not start at point B, means there is no combustion in the air fuel mixture. Okay, then how the curve will how you would draw the curve? So if combustion does not takes place properly at point B, then we cannot draw the curve like this, sharp curve. From here curve will a down, we have to draw a down curve from point B. Okay, because from point B combustion does not take place, so we have to draw a down curve here. Pressure will not increase rapidly because combustion does not take place due to some problem. Okay, this curve from point B, this curve is known as this curve, this downward curve, this curve is known as motoring curve. Motoring curve. Motoring curve. Okay, motoring curve, and this curve is for the cycle without combustion. Okay, without combustion, without combustion. Okay, so this is all about the actual combustion in SI engine. Okay, so this is all for today. In the next class we will discuss about the normal combustion and abnormal combustion. What is the normal combustion and what is the abnormal combustion in SI engine? Okay, thank you.